Hello everyone, Kirby1 here, and welcome back to the lands of Phaeacia in the slowest blitz game. And so we're gonna actually wind up moving a little bit forward, bit of a time skip here, because as you may recall from the end of the last video from the while back that it was, I was not doing an expansion because of poor positioning and lack of skill generally, but we're gonna skip turn 6 and we're gonna start in turn 7 where the action continues. The only thing that we missed was one event, and I'll go over it briefly, but our expansion into Pugria was successful, and as you recall there were quite a lot of wolf tribe there, over almost 140 here, and so we've got the big battle. It's not exactly going to replay the same because of changes in various patches, but we do manage to win in this replay as well. It's just so many archers here, and to be honest, like light infantry are great and all, but this protection 10 is a bit of a misnomer because their body protection is actually 8. So a lot of arrows will land on their head, a lot of arrows will land on their shield, but the ones that hit their body part, they will only be hitting at protection 8 from a damage 11 pierce damage bow. So they can actually take quite a lot of damage at close range like this too. It's just so devastating. There were so many archers. We make it work. These guys do break, but they don't get to the edge of the field before we take it. I think in the report we just watched, there were a little bit more casualty than this, probably closer to like 28, 30. So the fluctuations in what the possible losses were during my expansion were a little severe, as you can see, and as you recall, Mr. Marcotta has now retired, and he took his one surviving monkey with him. So what we did do significantly on turn 6 is decide to do one full round of archer recruitment. And one full round of archer recruitment in a turn allowed me to pick up 45 archers from Phaeacia, because Phaeacia is awesome. And so we're sending our full army over here, which potentially overkill, but I'm not really seeing anywhere else that I can hit other than here. This army is probably strong enough to be able to take this and or this, and then maybe that later. But yeah, so significant event from turn 7 now as we start to see our neighbors. We don't see where their caps are quite yet, I don't think. Bandar is going to be down here somewhere. And up here we don't see anybody yet. But Man is here. And that's a lot of Man provinces that are not his cap. That is as many as we have taken so far that are not our cap. So, I mean, Man is Man. You know, they have unicorn knights. So he probably has some preposterous bless. And it is going to be much stronger expansion than ours has been, clearly. And Bandar is an interesting place because he hasn't gone through here, which we can see. He has gone probably up through here or up through here. So Bandar could be either down straight down south this way or in this diagonal corner here. But in any event, that is going to start defining our priorities. So our priority is going to start circling this way and take as much as we can before Man gets it. Especially this one. This one is going to be kind of a linchpin province, because if we go here and here, then we can get up this way. If he goes here instead of here first, that can be a big problem for our expansion. Our entire expansion then is cut off probably from this one, because if we've gone here to this province this turn and Man has gone here, then there's no way we're getting to this before him. And we could go down south, but that would put us very, very far from our cap. I think this is probably more reachable, although it's probably equidistant reachable just because of the way our sailing mechanic works. And so, like I said, because of the way our sailing mechanic works, We're going to be having all of these guys who normally would not be able to be led by his size category of sailing ships do dark sails over here. And we did that because our scout prophet has been able to preach out in this direction. Meanwhile, because we're getting close to man's territory, we're probably candle killing each other here. And so I'm going to pull back and try and keep my Dominion score in this general area. This province I still am not really making a priority just because I don't know how many heavy cav there are here. But I also think that Bandar will not make it a priority for the same reason. And I just don't have a way to get to these provinces very quickly. I think I could maybe... No, these guys are slow, so let's try real quick. If we took a bunch of these guys... No, see, I can't even reach to here in one turn, which I think may be a combination of snow move and my armor, my encumbrance from my armor. So yeah, that's she could get there. Yeah, so we could have maybe done something, but that's still a lot of guys. It's hard to know how strong some of these provinces are, and I don't think we were necessarily going to make it super well. In any event, Bandar's guys are gone. We've got some heavy horsemen. That would be a really good pickup for me, but I didn't get them. And some archers, which I decided not to bid for. What we're aiming for with our big money in the bank is to put a fort down here immediately upon taking it. So wish us luck in that, and we are still recruiting a lot, so we have a large income even from our small size. So that's promising, but we're going to try and get our fort down right there and get even more infrastructure going than the 0 that we have now. Let's go on to turn 8. So here we are in turn 8, and just because I got here and remembered the thing that I said I was going to do and forgot, the event that we had on turn 6 was a misfortune event that increased our unrest here. It's now slowly trickling down, so that's a positive, but as you can see, we seem to tend to pick up a lot of unrest events. So there's another one here, which is just in our cap circle, reducing our resources and income slightly, so that's very unfortunate. Now, as you can see, we did manage to eliminate the barbarians, and out of the 86 barbarians that were there, this is clean. This is like super clean. Very, very happy with that result. And so you can see basically what wound up happening is a combination of the archers peppering them slightly as they came in, and then the javelins at close range doing a large hit, and then probably repelling and getting a nice clean initial hit off of them with their spears, and doing enough damage to kill all their chiefs and then rout the rest of them. So it didn't exactly work out that way in the replay, probably because we didn't get to snipe their commanders, and so a couple more guys were lost. But that's fine. We still managed to take the day. I think in this particular report it was more like 6 or 7. So still very, very clean. But I much prefer the way that it turned out in this particular battle in the game. So that's great. And there's our palisade going down immediately. And even with all of that, we still have enough money to make guys. Now, in this particular case, because the money is going into a palisade, we decide to go for the Orichalcum Guard instead, and there's 2 reasons for that. One reason is because with our Storm Captain here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the second turn of recruitment here, and we're going to bring all of these guys from here to take this province with sailing, which we don't need to worry about the dark ships for because the Storm Captain can lead them. And aside from that, this group is going to go here, and I think we were quite lucky in that prediction of man being here instead of here. And at this point, I do believe we start talking and being like, hey, you can take that if I can take this, and then we'll be friends. And I think he was fine with that, maybe with a little bit of hesitation, because I think he was saying, well, this is actually kind of close to my capital. It's like 3 away from my capital, and I'm like, well, it's 3 away from my capital, so, you know, let's just be friendly about it instead of having to get into a fight. And half of that is because I know that if he bum rushed me, I'd probably be screwed unless I pulled something out of my ass. But that being said, I'm already seeing even more problems to my north. So Asphodel is here, and that was Bone Tribe. And Bone Tribe are quite tricky to deal with. He's got black centaurs and mannequins there. So he's come down from up here, and this is just so many forests here, that I feel really bad because these are all going to be forted up. He's going to have so many mages, he's going to have so many mannequins, and I do not like being on the border with an Asphodel like that. But it is what it is, can't be helped. So now the race is on for both this direction and this direction, so that we can take as much as we can before Asphodel gets it. And we still don't know quite yet who else is in the area. So yeah, that's our plan with that. Now, as far as research goes, we're going for alteration, and that's just so that we can put as many layered defenses as we can on our scales troops with our mages. So things like blur, group blur, mist form, body ethereal. We can even do some stone skins, iron skins later on, etc. So those are our plans. I suppose stone skin would probably not be super great since we decided to take cold scales, so oh well. Meanwhile, she's out sight searching, so that's not yielded anything for us so far, but hopefully we'll get some more air gems out of it. And yeah, that's the plan. Here's a turn number 9, and we're seeing a lot of throne claimings going on. I think last turn maybe we also saw a throne claim, which I didn't comment on. Take a look real quick. Yep, so I believe these 2 thrones are underground thrones, so we would have never really had meaningful access to them anyways. But Abyssia must have either a strong bless and or an awake pretender. I mean, they have recruitable holy threes, so they could just be claiming that way. But I think it's more likely they have an awake pretender claiming thrones and bopping things off of them. And then Agartha also picked up a throne, probably also underground, but don't know for sure because my pretender is not awake to see where the thrones are. This province we take, ironically, more casualties from than the barbarians. So very, very amusing to me that happened. And we've succeeded here, and we did promise to Man that we weren't going to go even closer to them. So this is left for them, and they went here immediately. So that's pre-planned, and we tell them we're going up here as well. I think that they probably get grumpy about that, but we need to expand because we are really screwed right now in terms of where we're at. We already see Ulm here as well, and this can go one of 2 ways. We didn't talk with them, so we are sort of half hoping that they go here to bump with them, and half hoping that they don't have a significant enough expansion force to be able to take this. It's basically a lot of archers and a lot of troops, but we've got some afflictions racking up here from the heavy beating that we've been taking running over and over into Indies. So we're going to go here, and we're going to go here to see if he expands and what he expands with into this province. Meanwhile, this turn we are bidding quite a lot of money for the horsemen because there's a lot of horsemen left, and I think that many heavy cav should probably be able to take at least this and then maybe soften this one up for us before we move in with a follow-up force. So that's our plan. 640 gold for these horsemen here into Norfangs. I don't think I want to throw them into this one quite yet. We might be able to win the heavy cav duel, but it really depends how many heavy cav there are there. Meanwhile, we're going into here with our army from our cap, as well as the guys that we left to build that fort here. And we are replacing that guy with a random barbarian chief that we recruited to take over that task. And this province winds up being a scout province, so we are going to build scouts everywhere and anywhere that we can in indie provinces in order to try and watch and see where the likely attack is going to come from if somebody decides to rush us, if they discover how small we really are. So, yep, still trucking along, and I think that's pretty much it. Still no luck with site searching, and still getting unrest events. Very, very bad. This is actually a pretty significant one because the population is so big and the income so substantial from this province that unrest has a much higher impact on that. But we're still getting over 1,000 gold, and despite how small we are, and it's still only turn 9, but yeah. Let's do one more turn and we'll call it a video there. Alright, here's turn 10. Turns out that 600 gold investment was worth it to pick up those horsemen, and we'll see if they get us anything by attacking into here immediately by themselves. This battle was relatively clean. Again, casualties were sustained, but we still have some forces left. Ulm did go here, and he had 15 knights, so that is going to just demolish Wolf Tribe. Absolutely no problem. Like, this is the thing that you take into Wolf Tribe. What I have does not go into Wolf Tribe very well, but Ulm has no problems with Wolf Tribe. Now, if that had been barbarians, it would have been the opposite. I would have had no issues there, and Ulm would have been like, yeah, I'm not taking 15 knights into that, because that would be suicide. But it really depends what the matchups are. So he went here, and we didn't bump, and I went here, and so I don't know if we start talking this turn with Ulm or not, but yeah, it's we are now bordered with, well, 4 people, and we don't really have any plans quite yet for an early war, just because of the need to consider our dire situation in terms of weak expansion. And as you can see, we're already struggling again with maneuverability, just from like my armies that were expansion parties are now at the extent of their expanding, and so I need to reconsolidate and decide where I'm going to go next. This is a bit of a tricky situation because one of 2 things could be happening here. Either my candles were being spread by my prophet in a weird circle, or as is also potentially a likely case, although I don't see any here yet, there could be a sneaky prophet here as well. That would be something to go back and look at the first turns of to see what people renamed as their prophets. But this would be sneaky candle deletion on my end to prevent me from being able to do black ship sailing here, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. But my storm captain can still make it back to my cap, and we can pick up a whole buttload of guys and see if we can take expansion up in this direction again. Not sure if I want to go down this way. This is obviously a really terrible province, and I feel bad looking at it. This one I would be able to do if I just really mass consolidated here, but at this point in the game, I'm not really looking at it. So yeah, Bandar is down here in this area, and Man is here, and I think they probably are wondering, where they can go from here, just like I am with this army. And so yeah, aside from that, let's actually take a look at this battle, because this battle was really interesting. You remember how I was looking at it and wondering how many heavy cav there might be here? Well, it turns out that there were 20, and out of the 75 total guys that were in this province, and me bringing less than 60, this was extremely dicey, and you can see how dicey it was just from the actual results of this particular battle. because we hit them and we managed to kill a lot of these guys. Now, another reason I wanted to pick up the Orichalcum Guard, which I'm not sure if I specifically, explicitly mentioned when I was talking about it, is that they are more heavily armed and armored in order to take on the heavy cav here. But in this particular replay, it was not quite enough. So we managed to get the heavy cav off the field, but the light cav actually rout us in turn. So it was really a toss-up. I mean, this was a very risky move ultimately, but it's another great farmland. We're almost at 1,500 gold. Now, I look at this in one of two ways, because obviously our expansion is 9 provinces out of 10 turns, which is hugely suboptimal. But in some ways, Phaeacia and the amazing skills that I have, aside from death skills, do allow me to mitigate that to some degree because of having the income that I have. Now, obviously, having more provinces gives you more income. Here's another amazing farmland province, but it's just the case that there's so many hard independents that I've been sort of beating my head against, which go, you know, back and forth and sway with your emotions, sort of, where we lost the Marcadas here and we could have lost this expansion here, and it's just so flippy floppy. So there are ways to practice expansion. I don't know if anybody really went into this game being like, we're gonna super try hard and practice expansion a whole bunch just to see how much. I know Darkside Cookies did practice expansion, but that was mostly due to unfamiliarity with the nation. In my case, I was basically just being like, I'm gonna do what I did in Dominions 5 and print light infantry, Colossi light infantry on repeat, and we'll make it work. But there are things that I think I would do differently, and I would look at these kind of scenarios here and say, I need to not hyperfixate on getting the area around the oceans, and I need to figure out how I'm going to do better at projecting outward instead of going around in a circle like I did, because I really cut myself off in a lot of ways from optimizing my expansion. I mean, the Throne province here is also killing me a little bit, but that's random map generation for you. So anyways, we are in a little bit of dire straits. We want to be praying to ourselves, since we are God, that nobody else notices how tiny we are and decides to take advantage of that. Other than that, I think we're going to probably try heading north. If we get a second group in this area that we feel is strong enough to be able to take on the horse tribe, then we'll expand out this way and see who might be in this direction. And that is what it is. So, you know, wish us luck. A lot of it. See you later.